talking me.
But yeah, so since we were mentioning Gamescom and stuff like that, let's go ahead and start talking about some of the things in Gamescom. We're not gonna go over everything, but at least a good majority of the Gamescom stuff. I mean, they showed a lot, right? So just to name some of the stuff, just going down like the lineup of the things that were. I mean, they gave us a new Saints Row. We had definitely been complaining about GTA and like how long we'd have to wait for a new GTA and things like that. And Saints Row is an alternate version of GTA. Granted, it's on the other side of things. GTA tries to go more real,
Right.
but crazy, and Saints Row is just like it's not real at all. They're just wild.
It's one of those crime, cars in a city game. But yeah, it's not as polished. But what frustrated me about this was they gave us no gameplay, dude. Like, they just gave us a reveal trailer.
Right.
And it's like, darn it. Like, it's coming out in February, and you give us no gameplay. That's just bizarre to me. It's like 6 months away, and you gave us not even flashes of it. Like, for instance, in Vanguard, they gave us trailers, and then they gave us, like, we actually got a Vanguard gameplay, which we'll have to talk about that.
Right.
But in the reveal trailer, they showed flashes of gameplay.
Right.
We didn't even get, like, flashes here.
But
How did you feel about that?
I think, did they say when was the release date on this?
February 25th.
February 25th.
Next year, so 6 months,
another 2022
dude.
one.
Yeah.
So I feel like they didn't give us a lot right now because they just wanted to like introduce it, and I think that they'll probably have like their own stuff where it's like little announcement things where they should start rolling things out.
This just feels like it feels like a game.
Sire, go back. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm still recording, buddy. What were you saying?
Podcast bomb.
Yeah, I'll just leave that in there.
But I was saying that with the Saints Row, gosh, can't even remember now what I was saying. I guess I was primarily what I'm trying to say is I wanted to see gameplay because it feels so late. This feels like a trailer that they would reveal last year. So like a trailer you revealed in 2020. This is the kind of thing, right? Like I would expect to see in 2020, just a cinematic reveal.
Right.
And then this year, like right now, you reveal gameplay, and then it comes out in 6 months, and you talk about it more throughout the next month as you're getting closer.
Yeah.
This feels like they're going to cram a lot into a short period of time.
Which I'm okay with that as well, because there's been numerous times where we know about a game and then we don't hear about anything or get any updates from it, for like 3 years. You know what I mean? So I don't mind like just hearing about it and then it's coming out like really soon next year. And then we just start getting floods of, of information like gameplay, multiplayer, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like each month as it gets closer to it, as like a roll.
Yeah, I
don't mind that.
Yeah, like I'm not saying necessarily it's like gonna fail because of it. I'm just saying like timeline wise. I mean, I think we were all a little bit annoyed when they first announced God of War Ragnarok and they said it was coming out this year.
Yeah.
And they gave us only a freaking emblem. Like they didn't give us anything.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are like, well, damn, if the game is ready to come out next year, you'd think they'd have something to show. And like I feel like the same way with this, and this is even in a sense worse because it's like less than a year. It's like 6 to 7 months away, and you didn't show anything yet. But yes, I do know at some point in time they're going to give us gameplay. Yeah. It's just an interesting timeline to me that doesn't really will follow what I would expect to occur.
Right.
With revealing a game like this. This is a big one to reveal.
Yeah. So I mean, I was definitely looking forward to playing another Saints Row. Kind of getting away from the radical crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And just
back to like the roots,
core,
right?
Yeah,
back to
like
the roots.
Saints Row 1 type thing. And this is theoretically like
it's a reboot. It's not Saints Row 4. It's a reboot. To completely redo the game, yeah.
Which is interesting because there was a lot of mixed feelings about it. On the IGN video or whatever that they were previewing this, because they show all the Gamescom stuff or whatever. people kept complaining about like, oh, this is hipsters trying to start a gang or something like that. This ain't Saints
It kind
Row
of
and
is.
stuff like
It
that.
kind of is.
But I just thought it was like a different take. I mean, regardless of a reason why you start a gang, right? There has to be a reason for them to be able to maintain the gang, right? I mean, I think you could start a gang with, but if you start messing with big players, you'd probably get killed pretty quickly, and your gang would be up. So if it looked like you had like a person that
there's
was
factions,
really,
right? It looks like
really
factions
smart.
kind of thing, like different gangs in the city.
I think there's like 3 or 4 other factions or
right.
something like that. They were saying that you had to do to take care of the city and whatnot. But it seemed like the people on the team all had their roles to play on there. I mean, you had that Daredevil,
like heavy weapons, the driver, right? You know,
you
the
had
planner,
the sniper or whatever.
the sniper.
Yeah, you definitely had the smart guy.
So is this going to be multiplayer based? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I know there was a lot of the community was torn on whether they wanted to go back to the roots or they wanted more of the supernatural kind of off the wall stuff that Saints Row kind of turned into at the end there. Some people were torn. Some people really like, where they went with Saints Row, and some people really wanted to go back to what Saints Row was before they did that.
Right.
I tend to be more wanting to go back to the roots, but I know that the community was torn on that too. Yeah. So it's interesting. This is an interesting thing because Saints Row, it is well known to a degree, but their audience can be torn to some degrees here for its success. It's not like Dead Space where we know what we're getting.
Right.
With Saints Row, it could like go one of two directions, and it could be helpful or hurtful, depending on how they reboot it.
Yeah, and I think they'll still have some of that craziness in there, sneaking like 1 or 2,
slip
weapons
something cool
or something
in there,
like that do like ridiculousness or whatever. But I'm definitely interested to see where they're gonna take it.
Definitely,
so.
I'm curious, which is why I wanted to see some gameplay. I really wanted to.
Right, and I hope that they'll come out with some, in the future, in the near future. Like maybe right after Gamescom is over, then all you can talk about now is Saints Row, type shit or something.
Maybe
like
they
that.
caught the Doki V. You can't compete with that. That's not follow.
All right, let's just show them the trailer. We'll ditch the gameplay. We'll just ditch the gameplay.
Yeah.
But another one that I was kind of surprised on seeing was Marvel's Midnight Suns. Right. This was that Gamescom, that game that
last
they were
year,
about
like months ago, we talked about the 2K XCOM game Marvel. Right. The one that we were expecting to see at E3. That was leaked, and they decided not to reveal it then.
But this doesn't seem like any of the other, Marvel's games. This seems like it's slightly different. I mean, the fact that they literally got together with Marvel and created a backstory and all of that for this character, this Hunter, I think was the name of the character, the Hunter or something. And this is your character that's in this world, right? So you style it, do with it as you want. And then you interact with the rest of your of the Marvel's characters is dope. Like you don't have to be Captain America and go through the game, or you don't have to play as Kamala or whatever just to go through the storyline. You know what I mean? Like this is your character, how you want it, male or female. I'm assuming, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure you
like
choose.
however you want to work it. You know what I mean? So I think that's dope. I think that this was a game that was definitely needed.
And dude, what do you tell me about it, man? More. Isn't Ghost Rider dope as sick?
Ghost Rider was but I thought that his face looked a little.
I couldn't tell what he was at first.
Or whatever.
Yeah, he looked like Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal.
Exactly.
But dude, when he lit up his blades and he lit up his chains and his fire, I was like, that's so cool. Ghost Rider's always been dope. But at first, I wasn't like sure because it was so different from the traditional Ghost Rider. Yeah. If that's who it really was, or if this was like a new character.
Yeah, I was looking at him and I was like, well, his face doesn't really look like a skull. It looks kind of different. But I think that looks like Ghost Rider. Then when he burst into flames, I was like,
because this got to be Ghost Rider, right? Yeah. For sure. Something I wanted to ask you about this. We're seeing a lot of different Marvel games. And in my opinion, they've all kind of really they're not doing well. Like Marvel Avengers that came out, with Square Enix.
Yeah, that trash ass game.
That's terrible. This
and
mobile
Square
one.
Enix, like how they fuck.
And Square Enix, which I love Square Enix. They may have some of the best games they make, and you have that mobile Marvel coming out. It almost sounds.
It's out already. Revolution, that ass of a game, yeah.
But that's an ass of a game too. And part of me is like, okay, here's my thought on this. Like, clearly Disney is allowing multiple different developers, multiple different studios to pitch them
IPs and stuff.
Pitch them ideas for their Marvel games.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, yes to this, no to that, no to that. Are they watering down the Marvel name? Like, how long will the power of the Marvel name just simply pull you in because it's Marvel before it's like, shit, another Marvel game? That's going to be trash, right? Like, how long before they tarnish it so badly? I don't know how I feel about it. If I'd rather just like have them come out sparsely, and maybe just like the one studio doing it, like UB is doing with like,
the Star Wars games
Galaxies of the Universe, that we like, that's coming out soon.
Right.
Like, and just kind of like have them come out periodically, kind of like what they were doing with Star Wars. Although I do know with Star Wars, we were all annoyed because we wanted more Star Wars games, and only I think EA had access to it, and so we weren't getting the Star Wars games we wanted, and so I think Marvel's like pivoting. But dude, these games, a lot of them have been bad.
Well, I feel like they had a decent idea going with Marvel's Avengers. They just didn't execute it the way it should have been. And I think that's apparent with how long its longevity has been. It's not
right. It sucks.
I mean, they took way too long to add new characters in.
No one wants to play that game, dude.
And it's just it just hasn't worked out. So I feel like adding Revolution in there, it's like a mobile game. You know what I mean? Like, mobile games are mobile games. You're gonna have them, so it's it's whatever. So I think if they kept trying to do like Marvel's Avenger type games, like nonstop, I think then it would pollute the waters.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because this game is should be completely different than Avengers, it might fare better. It might succeed in separating itself from Marvel's Avengers and do a lot better.
What
I mean?
excites
they might
me
have a lot more room.
More about this is that it's from the XCOM developers, because they could have just announced the next XCOM game and I would have been excited. I don't think it being Marvel necessarily pulls me into what they're doing more, because I already love what they do.
Yeah.
And so I trust them. But I do know, man, we've been recently in a situation where Marvel's name is being kind of thrown through the mud by like EA, Square Enix, and like some of these games have been like not that great, that I worry that thrown
through the mud, meaning
thrown through the mud,
good.
right? Okay. Wasn't good, and so it hurts. It tarnishes the brand, right? Like, if there's something that's a good brand and you release some ass content for it, it tarnishes how people feel about it. And I just don't want them to get so trigger happy by allowing so many games to be made in the Marvel name that it becomes, damn, this is just going to be another cruddy Marvel game.
But even if it does get to that, right? Like, even if all of the Marvels, this and that, and they start producing some shitty stuff, I think you're still going to have a couple of solid go-tos. Like, they're going to be able to do a Miles Morales.
Spider-Man will always be great. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Spider-Man's good. I'm talking about like these other things like with
they're going to have some
Wolverine
staples,
and stuff. Yeah.
But it's going to be those like, try to do every character games. They might just stop after a while.
Yeah, that might be the route that doesn't work.
We just need to go off of single characters.
Yeah.
And make
I wish they
that.
would do that more, actually. Because it does feel like what you're saying is right. It does feel like the whole ensemble thing is getting to be a little bit overplayed.
Bro,
but just playing as Wolverine would be dope, I think.
Dude, I would love to see a Blade game.
Even Blade. Like, a lot of these guys.
You know what I mean?
What about just Iron Man? Right? Like, that'd be fun, too.
They did do that, but they did it VR, so, I mean...
I know they did it VR. I'm talking, like, Anthem style.
Yeah.
But, like, do it right.
Right.
But I think what happens is, to add on to this idea, is that you have too many characters you're juggling to make great. And so it's better when you just focus in on one. You see what Insomniac did with Spider-Man? When all they had to worry about was one hero? Like, you can make him great. Right? When you're trying... Or Batman. The Batman games were incredible.
Dude.
When you're just focusing in like on one hero or maybe two or three, you're okay. But the whole ensemble, I think it's too hard. They take the laser out like Square Enix did with Marvel Avengers and make them all the same,
right?
But just put like a different skin on them.
Which is the one thing that I'll be worried about, but for this Midnight Suns, but the only thing that I think maybe it's saving grace
is that one character.
You have one character, your main character.
Right.
If you don't have to control any of the other characters and there's just a team to join you, but you can focus on your one guy, it might be missed that they all attack the same or whatever.
So they might be doing what we're asking.
Bringing your one character up.
Yeah.
I think like, you know, I don't really know because I didn't play it like that, but I think Marvel's Avengers, you know, the character Kamala was only used to like progress the story. I don't think she was like forced to go to every mission. You're not forced to stay that.
You played at other heroes throughout the mission. Just
and
it's a flawed
she's not
concept.
Really yours. So she's got the power she's got.
Right.
Maybe you got upgrades that you can get or whatever later on. But still, I just thought it was completely an ass of a game because you couldn't see the cosmetics.
It's such a flawed game in so many ways, man. Yeah. It's just flawed.
It just felt like a money grab. So
yeah.
I mean, they might eventually change that, but I feel like they would just like end up like throwing it away.
I think it's
just stop updating it.
I don't know if it's salvageable enough.
Yeah.
For a few of the reasons. I think one of the main reasons is what you mentioned before is that because every character plays the same.
Yeah.
Like you throw with this, you throw with that. How do you fix that?
You throw with everything.
You'd have to like overhaul the whole entire mechanic, and I don't know. I think the game is just not salvageable.
I love you, me.